Hi, folks. Thanks for joining. My name's Gar Whaley. You probably have heard me speak before. I'm with Reed Johnston. We are partners here in Teal. Reed has been doing a great job of in-person events talking about Copilot. So we wanted to share because folks have asked some basic Copilot AI initiatives that we use at work every day. So today, Reed, what are we going to talk about today?
Yeah, so today we're going to start by really talking about Copilot for Microsoft 365 Chat. It's Copilot through your browser and through Teams. So
Fantastic. Why don't you share your screen and we'll get kicked off? And just
cool.
remember, we like to keep these things relatively short. So we'll stick to our promise on time, probably less than 15 minutes, if not less than 10.
Cool. Yeah, that sounds good. Go ahead and hit allow for me to share there. There we go. And
Thank
I'm
you,
just going
sir.
to share my screen. Okay, so you can see my screen there?
Roger.
All right. So, yeah, we're going to talk about Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat. And this is the interface of Copilot that you'll have through a browser and through Microsoft Teams. There will be a little Copilot button on the left-hand side. So if I switch my screen back to Teams here, you can see I've got the modern new Teams layout, and across the left-hand side here, I've got a Copilot button. But we'll spend our time in the browser. So when we're in the browser, the first thing I want to call your attention to is there's two sections at the top here. There's work and there's web. So I'm in the work mode right now, which means I have a $30 a month Copilot license assigned to my account. That license gives me the ability to interact with Copilot and add content from my environment as context to my prompt. So for example, when I'm prompting Copilot, I can reference documents, I can reference people, I can reference meetings that I've had, I can reference emails, and Microsoft recently added an upload button. So I can actually upload any file from my computer that's not in OneDrive or SharePoint. And in the past meetings, we've talked about you got to have all your data in OneDrive or SharePoint for Copilot to use it. Well, in this case, you're just uploading a file to OneDrive so that Copilot can use it kind of on the fly. But when we go in here, in the work mode, I'm able to access the data within my environment. When I flip over to web mode, it's only looking out at the internet. It's only using the AI to provide a response. It can't see any of my files. So it's just important to make that distinction. The other thing that's really important with Copilot Chat is right up here in the upper right-hand corner, enterprise data protection. So we always recommend that our clients use Copilot instead of our other third-party tools because Microsoft is protecting your data. They're not sharing what you type into Copilot with any other customers. They're not using the data that you type into Copilot to train the large language model. And that's been a common practice with these other AI platforms that are free. Because remember, when the service is free, the price is your data. So that's kind of the background. When we get into
Reed,
actually,
just a quick
yeah.
clarifying question on that. When you have it set to web
Mhm.
and you copy in a salary spreadsheet of your 50-person organization, and you ask, so it's not in OneDrive. It's something you copied in. It was on your hard drive. And you ask it to do an analysis on that spreadsheet of salaries. Is that safe to do? Is that protected?
Yep, that's safe to do because within this environment here, you've got that enterprise data protection. And I'm not going to click it here, but if you click the link, it'll take you to a page that explains how it all works and why it's important for small businesses. So, yep, good question. But when I go back to work, this is really where I spend most of my time because when you're using the work mode, you've got the ability to access your data, but you also have the ability to access the internet. So one of the things I want to draw attention to is I can say, hey, we'll just say create, I'm going to type in here, create a short LinkedIn post about Microsoft Copilot. So when I do that, it's not looking at my documents really. I mean, it might be, but if it really pulled data from one of my files, it would have given me a citation here somewhere. It would have said, here's the document that I looked at, and that's how I created this post. If it would have gone out to the internet, it would have also provided a citation from the website that it went to. So what we're looking at here with this response is really just what the AI gave me back. This is just a single prompt, single response. We could change it a little bit. I'm going to start a new chat. Now I've got a blank canvas again, new chat in the upper right corner. You
What
always
happens if you didn't hit new chat?
So if I didn't hit new chat, and you'll notice there's a recent chats here on the right-hand side. So I can go back to that recent chat that I just had. But when I click new chat, the idea there is it starts a new thread, it starts a new conversation. If I keep chatting, Copilot is going to use the context of what it's already returned. So when you totally change topics, it's a good idea to start a new chat. So like I could say, please make this shorter. Copilot understands what it already gave me. It's going to make it shorter.
So if
I
you're iterating, you continue in the same chat loop, and if it's a totally new subject, best to start a new
Yeah,
chat.
yeah. So a good example where we'll use my own files, I'll say create a LinkedIn post based on one tip from. I can use the slash command, which brings up that menu so I can add context to my chat. And I'm going to say 11-point cybersecurity. Let's see, there it is, 11-point cybersecurity checklist. This is a file that I've referenced from our system. So now when I submit this prompt, it's going to look at that document, and now it's giving me a post based on one of the tips. And here it showed me in the reply that it referenced this document. And I could actually click on the document to open it up if I wanted to. So now I could say, make this much shorter and remove the hashtags. Scroll down a little bit. Now it's a lot shorter. So it referenced the document up here. I modified it slightly, and now I have a response. So Copilot Chat is great for creating kind of that first draft or that first shot at some sort of content. And it's also great at surfacing information from your environment because Copilot has access to everything that I have access to. Okay. So it can see my meetings, my emails, my Teams messages, and so on. So if I start a new chat, you'll see at the top, there's some different prompts that Microsoft gives me, some ideas of things that I could ask Copilot. Help me prepare for a meeting later today. What's the latest from Mark? Create some content. Microsoft has been doing a lot with adding suggested prompts. So there's a button here down by the text box where I can click View Prompts. This is their prompt gallery. This used to be Copilot Lab is where these prompts came from, but now they've made this prompt gallery right within Copilot. You can see you can sort all of these prompts by what you're trying to do. So if I'm trying to catch up on something, I can select that, and then it'll give me a bunch of suggestions, things that I can do. If I click see all prompts, it's going to open a browser and it's going to take me to another site entirely. But the other thing I wanted to mention about viewing prompts is there's a section here for your prompts. So Copilot now lets you save your own prompts that you can recall later, because that's the biggest issue that people have. They work on typing messages into Copilot, they get a response, they type another response, they get a response. They finally type in that prompt that gives them what they're looking for, and they want to save that information. So what I can do here is I can say, create me a short LinkedIn post based on 11-point cybersecurity. It'll take a second here. I typed a little bit too fast. Let's see. There it is. 11-point checklist. That is comical, yet professional. It's kind of a long prompt or a long response,
Yeah.
but I've got this prompt now. So if I liked this, you'll see I can hover over my prompt and I can actually save it. So now when I save it, I can give it a title. Funny LinkedIn, and it's saved my prompt right here. So I can click save. So now when I'm going back the next day, the next week, and I like kind of the idea there, I can go into view prompts, your prompts. There's my prompt. Now it's going to select my file automatically, but I can change it. If I want to erase that, and I can say, something else, Copilot Learning Series Agenda, I can pop in a different document right there. Let's see what that does.
Yeah, so interesting. I use this prompt all the time and I haven't saved it, so possibly I should.
Yep.
When I when I'm preparing for a meeting and I see there's some other pre-written prompts to do this, preparing for a meeting, I'll ask Copilot to go through all my emails, all my Teams meetings, any documentation related to client X and prepare for this meeting. Or what I did yesterday is ask it where a certain subject was discussed and what the discussion was about. So it might have been, tell me all the areas where pricing regarding computer adoption fee was discussed. And it'll tell me the emails, any documents that's in, and even had a look at Teams meetings.
Yep, absolutely. Copilot has access to all of the data that you have access to. So it's taking your natural language prompt and it's going into the Microsoft Graph and it's collecting that information along with a response from the large language model. So Copilot for Microsoft 365 Chat is really, I think, one of the most powerful areas of Copilot because it lets me pull in my data, it lets me access the internet, it lets me iterate, and I can save all of my prompts. So this is really where we recommend everyone start. And everyone has access to Copilot Chat. So you can go to office.com, you sign in, and in your sandwich menu here, you can access Microsoft 365 Copilot. Everybody has access to that. The difference, though, is to have access to your own files, you need to have that $30 a month license. But everybody has access to the web. So that's where we encourage our clients.
Hit your sandwich bar again. It's still showing.
Yeah, there we go.
It looks like I was going to ask you what do we use the web button for, but it looks like you're about to get to that.
Yeah, so I like to use the web when I want to really kind of make sure that I'm not accessing any of my data. So I use it for research. I use it for searching. I'm finding that I'm doing less Googling and I'm doing more co-piloting when I'm looking for information. I should mention, though, that when you're in this work mode here, you can click on these three little buttons up at the top, and this is where you can toggle web content on or off. So I was working with a client the other day, and we were doing some prompting, and we were seeing that some of the responses were including web content, and we didn't want that. So if you're in work mode and you don't want web content, you just toggle that off. And now, whenever I type something, I've got a Copilot's telling me web search is off. But whenever I type a prompt, it's not going to search the internet.
Great.
Yeah. So that pretty much covers what I wanted to talk about here with Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat.
Great. Yeah. We kept to our promise, kept it short. This is very good stuff. Just a teaser for some of the things we're going to get to in the next episodes are Copilot in PowerPoint, Copilot in Excel, really all the Microsoft Office applications. And there's some really crazy stuff you showed me the other day in Excel. So excited to get to that. Thanks, Reed, for sharing everything you did today. Folks, thanks for joining. Have a great day.
Yep. Thanks a lot. See you later.